Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. You're going to look at the weather for the next week to 10 days in today's video. This takes us to around the 22nd of December, so we're going up towards Christmas with this update. And tonight we'll actually have the 20th Christmas update, and that will cover the full period through Christmas. Won't quite get to New Year with that, but we'll cover the full pre-Christmas and actual Christmas period tonight in the 20th Christmas update. But this update is going to take us just short of Christmas to around the 22nd of December. Looks like we're going to be seeing increasing influences from high pressure as we running up towards Christmas. So we may have some frost and perhaps some fog running up towards Christmas. No sign of anything particularly wintry though, certainly this side of Christmas. The proper cold Arctic air is going to be kept in the east and the southeast of Europe and around Western Russia. There's no sign of that getting to us at the moment. So we're looking at the very best, if you want cold weather, for the run-up to Christmas, looking at the very best sort of inversion cold, which is where you get frost and fog, that kind of thing, under high pressure. I'll run you through the detail in a second. Before I get on with that, just say about the ads. There's links to articles on all the pages. Have a browse through widgets and click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. You're going to be helping us to page website. Thanks so much for doing that. There's also video ads to most pages, which open content when you watch them and close back up again. Does help to pay for gasweatherviz.com. So this is the 500 millibar height anomaly flowchart for the next week to 10 days. We've got the E70UF here on the top, and the GFS, which you'll look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet, is an area in the atmosphere where high pressure and low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates to high pressure and red to low pressure. So quite evidently, with this, we've got this big ridge of above average heights here in the 7 to 10 day time frame, which is taking us towards the 22nd of December. Big ridge there across virtually the whole of Europe. It really is a very expansive ridge from sort of Ireland and us, UK, right perched next to the Atlantic, right way over towards northeastern Europe and western parts of Russia. Now, clearly we've got this deep trough of low pressure in the central part of the Atlantic, and quite a strong jet stream coming out of America and into the Atlantic. So that is stopping. The jet stream is running through the Atlantic and then going northwards around the ridge like that. And it's stopping this ridge of above average heights from moving northwards. This ridge probably does want to go north. Ordinarily, it would want to go up towards the polar region, but it can't because the jet stream is stopping that. It's running around the top of a ridge, and we're on the mild side of the jet, albeit we are under a ridge, so we can get frost and fog at this time of year. If this was summer, it would be very hot in this kind of pattern. We'd be drawing up the air from Central and Southern Europe, and it would be a real heat wave across many parts of Europe. This kind of chart we look at for baking hot weather in the summer. As it is, it means that the cold air with this ridge is going to be going down its eastern side, so that takes it through Russia with that trough there, and it also takes it down into the southeast of Europe. So if you want to know where the cold weather is, where snow is, where winter is, it's down across Greece, Turkey, probably the Balkans, those sort of areas over the coming week to 10 days. Very classic scenario for what we have been getting with our winters since around the late 1980s. Many winters have been mild in the north and west of Europe. The southeast of Europe tends to get the cold air plunging out of Russia. The E70UF, it looks like that, so the GFS looks like this. Very similar. The ridge is a little bit further north, a little bit more centred towards Scandinavia, but still the same broad idea that we've got the low pressure in the Atlantic putting pressure on that ridge of high pressure, stopping it from going too far north, stopping it getting into a position that would deliver cold air, proper Arctic cold air, into Scandinavia, Central Europe, Western Europe as well. And consequently, winter is down in the southeast, and by winter I'm talking about snow. That's down across the southeast of Europe with that trough just there around the eastern edge of the high pressure. So we could well get cold weather. I'm not ruling out the chance of some cold conditions as run up towards Christmas because it's hot, it is winter, it's high pressure, so it means that heat radiates out in space very, very quickly, and you can easily get frost and fog. But for proper Arctic winter snow conditions, that is in the southeast of Europe, and it looks like that's where it's going to be staying running up towards Christmas. So this is the GFS temperature and precipitation ensemble chart for the next 2 weeks. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average, and well, it's a very clear-cut signal there. Virtually throughout the whole of the ensemble, we're above the red line, above the 30-year temperature average. So in terms of the upper air temperatures, it's very straightforwardly a mild period. Not as simple as that, as I explained, because it's winter with under high pressure. We can radiate the heat very quickly and get it cold on the surface. So several of these members that are looking really quite mild in terms of the upper air temperatures, they could be producing really frosty conditions and maybe fog as well. But for Arctic cold, for snow cold, we have to go down here into that level of the ensemble, and there's not really much sign that we do that. Maybe a few cold outlier members later on around Christmas and after Christmas, but they are in the minority. The general view, certainly when it towards Christmas, seems to be high pressure dominated with frost and fog. Precipitation, not a great deal really. We've got light rain and drizzle at the moment. Then it looks like it's going pretty dry through this week into the weekend. Possibly signs that the precipitation spikes are coming back as we go up towards Christmas and beyond Christmas. That might be associated with that trough finally breaking down the ridge and returning us to an Atlantic flow. I'm not sure. I haven't been through the ensemble options this morning. This is for, just check where I've got this for. This is Istanbul. This is the ensemble from GFS model for Istanbul, and very, very evidently that's where winter is. There's the 30-year temperature average for Istanbul in Turkey, and look how much colder than average it is down there across Turkey right now, and the ensemble forecast is to keep it very significantly colder than average generally right the way through to Christmas. So if you want a cold Christmas, maybe go to Greece and Turkey. This is the temperature anomaly for the next week, so this takes from the 12th through 20th of December. Very clear cut what's going on there. The north and the west of Europe coming out milder than average, especially so across Scandinavia. They really are having very mild winter at the moment. But down in the southeast, look, that's where those cold temperature anomalies are. So through the Balkans, going down towards Greece and Turkey, and then northwards up towards the Black Sea and into Russia. That's where you've got those colder average temperatures on that eastern side of the big ridge that's sitting across central parts of Europe. Precipitation anomaly for the next week looks very significantly drier than average across most parts of Europe, due, of course, to that ridge of high pressure. It's wetter through the Med, so if you're off down to parts of Spain, the Balearic Islands, Corsica, Sardinia, for a pre-Christmas top up with the sun, you may have to take your umbrella with you because it's quite wet down there. And one of nature's balancing acts is that when the north of Europe is under high pressure, the south will tend to be under low pressure and have rain. So this out for GFS is looking for Friday. We've got a trough of low pressure trying to come in. There's that big blocking ridge there across eastern parts of Europe. So, of course, the cold air is going down here into the southeast of Europe. But under this ridge, it could be getting cold purely because it's high pressure, it's winter, and we get the heat out in space very quickly. We generate frost and fog, and that lowers the temperature. So, definitely the chance of frost and fog across many parts of Europe under this ridge. Less of a chance towards the end of the week anyway for the west of Europe. Into the weekend, and the idea is generally just build this ridge, inflate it up like a tyre being blown up across virtually the whole of Europe, so it does stretch from Ireland and the UK in the west over towards the Black Sea in the east and all places in between. And as I say, frost and fog may become increasingly probable as we go through the weekend and into next week. So this is how things are looking on Tuesday next week, 20th of December, with the GFS, its latest run GFS. That high pressure is in there, covering many parts of Europe. We're bringing the flow from the southeast. It isn't a bitterly cold flow, it's not Arctic cold, but certainly could be pushing in cold air out of Germany and generating frost and fog conditions. And that takes up to day 10, which is Thursday, 22nd of December, which time the high pressure is very dominant. Again, the wind flow is from the continent, so expect frost and fog. And that could actually be quite disruptive. Not have to worry about snow next week, but as we're running up towards Christmas, I've got a feeling we may have increasing fog, and that could be quite disruptive, especially across Europe. Central Europe could get a lot of fog next week, which won't be ideal for people travelling about. This is how the temperatures are looking over the coming week. So it starts off very mild tomorrow across many western parts of Europe, France and the UK, seeing those temperatures back into double figures again, although it is a bit colder across Scotland. And then a mild night on Tuesday night. Wednesday looks very mild as well, and frost-free again on Wednesday night. Thursday, another mild day. Frost-free Thursday night, another mild day on Friday for the west of Europe and into Saturday as well. Sunday starts to bring in slightly colder air from the east though, so we may get a ground frost on Saturday night. And then Sunday does look a colder day with temperatures back down into single figures. That's about where they should be for the middle of December. And then into next week, the risk of frost increases. So Monday next week has temperatures down to just 4 or 5 degrees, and at the night time it is turning quite frosty there. On Monday night, we go through into Tuesday. It's an even colder day with temperatures again just 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees. So quite cold air is coming in from the east, albeit it is an Arctic cold. But increasing risk of frost through the week with the GFS next week, which, if it's accompanied by fog, could be quite disruptive. Middle of next week, this is Thursday, 22nd of December. Again, we've got widespread frost going on. Most parts of Europe having widespread frost as well. And that's how the actual chart is looking for next week, remember, with the wind coming in off the continent from the southeast. It's mild aloft, the air is warm aloft. Winter upper air temperatures are down in the southeast Europe. Most parts of Europe actually mild in terms of upper air temperatures, but on the surface, that's the signs of the inversion that's taking place with very cold, low level air right on the surface, producing those frost and fog conditions. And then the East MWF finally, so the south winds are looking at the end of the week into the weekend. It essentially takes this high pressure and builds it across most parts of Europe. We're closer to the milder side of this high pressure in the UK, though, with the East MWF. So it probably doesn't pull in quite that level of cold continental air that the GFS is doing. But nevertheless, it's anticyclonic through the early part of next week. And then the East MWF has to go up to day 10, which is Thursday, 22nd of December, trying to break that ridge down and bring back a westerly flow from the Atlantic. That obviously is bringing mild, wet and windy conditions there on day 10, Thursday 22nd of December. It is an option. It's a big trough that's out in the Atlantic by day 10. So it could well be that by the time we get through to Christmas, we are breaking this ridge down. But for now, I think the safest option is to go with increasing risk of frost and fog from the weekend through to next week, especially the early part of next week could have quite a lot of frost and increasing risk of fog as well. No snow because it's dry air, it's continental air, it is an Arctic sourced air, so the snow risks will continue to be in the far east and southeast of Europe on the eastern side of this big ridge of high pressure. Right, come back tonight when we'll do the 20th Christmas update, having a detailed look at the Christmas period. So come back for that tonight. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.